Hey guys, this is Garrett Bernard, and I'm here to demonstrate for you the contextual redefinition strategy. This strategy will be used whenever introducing new key terms to your students, just terms that you guys are about to dive into and use a lot in the upcoming unit or chapter or whatever you're coming up on. This is something to do at the beginning of that, just to get students acclimated with all the new terms that they're going to be seeing and reading in their textbooks or whatever. This is something that you're going to want to do at the beginning of class. I have a whiteboard, but you're probably going to want to use like a PowerPoint or something like that, and I'll talk about why whenever I demonstrate the strategy. And I'm just going to go ahead and dive into it. So you also probably want to have students following along in a journal. So if you do, like, you're gonna do it as a warm-up activity, and then students they'll just have, each of them will have their own individual journal and just kind of copy down what's up on the board and follow along and stuff like that. And so you'll start off, and if you're using PowerPoint, you'll start off with we'll start with this first example. So we're just looking right here in this first column, example 1. This will be your first slide right here in this box, okay? And then it just says tangent, question mark. So basically you're going to show them this slide and be like, hey, what does the word tangent mean? And up to this point, this is for, by the way, this is for 10th grade geometry students. So they've never seen the word tangent before. And so you just, hey guys, this is fun. Let's just take a stab at it. Open up your journals and take a stab at this. What does tangent mean? What does that mean to you? Define tangent. And since they've never heard the word or seen the word tangent before, probably, they're going to be like, oh, well, it's probably just like a sharply dressed man that spends a lot of time out in the sun. And we all know that that's not true if we've taken 10th grade geometry for this context. But that's kind of the fun part of the activity. So you give them a few minutes or whatever to write down their guesses, and then if you want to, you can, by a show of hands, who wants to share what they think tangent means. And then Steven, what does tangent mean? Okay, good guess. Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, Carol, what does tangent mean? Haha, that's funny. Yeah, that's totally not it. Okay, and then you hit the next slide, okay, and you got tangent in a sentence. So right here, it's kind of hard to see, I know. It says the line runs tangent to the curve. Okay, so now that they know tangent, given this sentence here, tangent in this context, in this classroom, tangent has nothing to do with sharply dressed men that spend time out in the sun or anything like that. So the line runs tangent to the curve. They see that, and then you instruct your class, now that you've seen this used in a sentence, what do you think tangent means now? And give them just a minute or two to take a stab at it again and see if they can define tangent again, and you'll see that some of them will probably get closer. So again, you can say by show of hands who kind of wants to share what they think a tangent might mean, okay? And then so you ask, 1 or 2 students to share, and they share. And then after that, you just take one volunteer to take out a dictionary. If you have one in the classroom, take out a dictionary, open it up to the word tangent, and share with the class what it means. And if you don't have a dictionary or whatever, if the dictionary is probably not going to have the definition that you want them to see or whatever, then you can just share them. You just go ahead and hit them with the definition that you want them to know. So let's go ahead and move on to example 2. We'll move quickly through this. Altitude. So that'll be your next slide right here. Example 2, altitude, question mark. What does altitude mean? And none of them up to this point have ever seen this form of altitude. They'd probably just think like altitude, airplanes, how high the airplanes are in the sky or whatever. And then so give them a few minutes, write that down, what they think altitude means. And then let them share, hit the next slide. Okay, give altitude in a sentence. So every triangle has 3 altitudes. So that now they know, in this context, they know that the altitudes have to do with triangles. Okay, and they got 3 of them. So that kind of gives them an idea. They can maybe guess and take a stab at what we think altitude means. And then move on to the next example, bisector. What does bisector mean? Give them a few minutes to write it down. Hit the next slide. The given line segment is a bisector for angle M. So now we know bisectors might have something to do with angles or line segments or something like that. And have them take a stab at that. and then take your volunteer, or just go ahead and give them the real definition. So, with all that being said, this is once again just a great strategy to introduce new words that you're going to be coming up on in the upcoming unit. It's going to give students practice with context clues, which is like a super important skill in any content area. When you're reading, you're coming up on words you don't know. Sometimes you just got to use context clues to kind of figure out what it means, and that's a skill that you're going to be using all throughout college and maybe even into your career. Context clues, it's super important. This also is probably going to help a lot with their long-term memory with these words, because, I mean, for me personally, whenever a teacher asks, like, hey, Garrett, what does this mean to you? Or, Garrett, what is a tangent? And they put you, I mean, you're not putting them on the spot here, but they put you on the spot a little bit, and you're like, well, crud, I don't know that. And then that kind of begs, it makes you want to know what that is, versus like tangent, a line that runs through a curve at one point or whatever, the real definition. And you just give them the definition. They're going to hear it one time and it's going to go in through one ear and out the other. Versus when you do fun activities like this, that you kind of show them what they don't know first, and then you give it to them. They're going to want to have that. They're going to want to hang on to that information. So once again, just to kind of go over some things, to go over why this strategy is useful. 1, it gives them practice with context clues, and 2, it's going to help with that long-term memory with hanging on to these terms. And then as far as weaknesses goes, there's not many. This is just a real quick little activity. It shouldn't take a whole lot of time, just first 10 minutes of class, maybe 5 if you go through it quickly. However, if you don't do it with journals and the students aren't following along, I don't think that they would be likely to participate as well, and maybe just kind of sit there idly and not really engage in the activity. So I think it's wise to do it with journals, and then have them pass in the journals and then take a grade on that or whatever, like a participation grade or whatever. And then let's see. However, whenever you do require things like journals or whatever, I guess journals are materials that cost money, so that can be an issue. But as far as weaknesses go, there's really not much. There's not much there. So once again, context clues, helping with that, and then also long-term memory. And you can use this in any content area with any, like history, science. It's pretty. You can use it for anything. Like in, for example, history. Let's see, the word interchangeable parts. If they've never heard that before, so you throw that up there. Interchangeable parts. What does that mean? Let them take a stab at it, and then use that in a sentence, and then take a stab at it again, and then allow them to and then show them the real definition. Okay. Thank you guys for listening, and I hope this is helpful to you guys ultimately in the future. Thank you so much.